Hi, I'm Ali Porti, fashion and lifestyle journalist and editor of Zayla magazine. I've always been interested in biographies and in the stories of people's lives, basically listening to what stirs their souls. Welcome to the Soulful Side of Life, where I let you in on some of my conversations with inspiring people from around the world in fashion, faith, entertainment, music, and entrepreneurship. These episodes come from a previous podcast channel that I used to have, Zayla Food. Zayla means soul, but in German, so soul food, but in German and English. I don't want to lose these episodes as I've dismantled Zayla Food and now have the Soulful Side of Life. These are still conversations that stir the soul about people's journeys, about the ups and downs of life and how they have overcome situations. I hope these episodes will inspire your life in some way, so enjoy over a cup of something hot or on your drive to work. This is the Soulful Side of Life with Ali Porti. So I had the pleasure of having a recent phone chat with Kurdish-Kiwi singer Nouri recently. She's been named as an artist to watch, and I connected with her story because she was born in a Syrian refugee camp as a Syrian refugee, and I served Syrian refugees in Germany and Lebanon, and life in the camps is not easy. It's unsanitary, there's domestic abuse, there's just all kinds of injustices. So I was able to understand a bit her early life story. But at the age of 3, she and her family were blessed to go to New Zealand, where she grew up. And while life has not been easy for her, it's her blossoming music career and her experiences as a computer scientist that has helped her to stay humble. I really enjoyed this chat with Nouri because she's an amazing person, and she has this heart to want to give back and help others, especially refugees and especially people from the Middle East and especially Kurds. And while her music isn't Arabic, it's soulful and it incorporates husky vocal tones and superlative songwriting. We laugh in this chat. We talk refugees and her life in the West. She's actually currently in LA working on her music career, as LA is the best place to take her career to the next level. And we talk country music. Oh, goodness. We both love country music. Stars in my book because as a Kiwi, as a Kurdish Arabic woman, she gets country music. Okay, we're like best friends now. And then we talk about more women needing to be in STEM careers. As I said before, she's a trained computer scientist, and she's got a heart for championing more women to be in this field. And we talk her music and where she envisions her music career going. So I hope that you get inspired by this chat with Nouri, that even if your life has come from immense challenge, it can change. And with hard work and passion, you can go to where you want to get to in life. We're often the ones holding our futures back, but listening to Nouri's story, anything is possible if you put your mind to it. And with faith and trusting God, we can do almost everything. We can certainly do what we've been called and put on this earth to do. So enjoy this interview with Nouri, and make sure you go to YouTube and check out her sounds and follow her on social media. Nouri, thank you so much for being able to join the podcast today. Your music career, just your life is inspiring. And so let's jump right in.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, you were born into political challenge, being born into a Syrian refugee camp, and I can only imagine having actually spent some time in Syrian refugee camps. Just refugee camps in general, they're not clean places, lots of challenges. Can you talk a little bit about what your parents had to go through and what it was like for them to have a new baby in such a challenging environment?
Yeah, well, I can tell you from the start because I'm actually Kurdish, and my mom and dad's house in Kurdistan got bombed during the Gulf War, and from then they had to flee to Iran, and at Iran, at the borders, they were denied, so they had to walk all the way to the Syrian borders where they were actually granted refuge. So that's where, and at that time, my mom actually had my two elder sisters that were babies, so that was already a challenge, just traveling from one country to another by foot. And I can't even imagine what that was like, but,
Yeah.
my mom made, the tent that we lived in made it feel like a home. So me and my younger sister were born in the Syrian refugee camp, so, I can't even imagine what it was like for my mom. But for us kids, all I remember, honestly, was playing with rocks and, going with my mom to fetch water. And, but for me, that's all I knew. So I didn't think it was, that was life for me. I didn't know it was any different than what life is supposed to be like. Playing with rocks, those were like my toys.
Yeah.
And fetching water was just, that was like going to the grocery store. It was normal for us. So my mom made it feel like we never had any challenges, which she's the most amazing person on this planet to me.
Yeah.
Just because of that, just long story short with that, we really didn't, us kids, we didn't know that we were struggling. So my mom, she had to go through everything, and I know it was the biggest challenge for her, just having to fetch water with, 4 kids already, and, having my dad then, they weren't really on the greatest terms and everything like that, so it was really like a single mother, even from while, like, my dad was there, basically. And it was, like you said, it's very dirty.
Yeah.
The hygiene isn't great. Medical is, you get the bare minimum. And luckily, my sister actually had some medical problems that had happened to her, so that's when New Zealand actually opened up the doors for us. And they were like, you can come into our country and seek medical attention just because it was that serious.
Wow. I like Westerners do not understand what refugee camps are like unless their family has that sort of history. And I just take my hat off to your mom because I can imagine she was very young herself.
Yeah, she was like a teenager, so I can't even. Right, so I can't even imagine, because when she was, between 17 and maybe 20, 21. I can't even imagine at that age being in that type of environment, having 4 kids,
Yeah.
and having to just try to survive. It's just the craziest thing to think about, and it honestly makes me sad every time, because I already know that there's people still there going through the same thing. That's what kills me every day.
Yeah, it is. In Lebanon and in Jordan, and I just, you have to be strong to be a refugee. And my gosh, 4 young kids, it's really not easy. But at least you didn't feel like you were a refugee, like that's all you knew. So you just enjoyed life and you played with other kids. And I'm sure that when you got to New Zealand, it was a different world. Like, do you remember arriving to New Zealand? What was that like for you to adjust to a completely different country, culture, language?
It's honestly, again, it's very, very I remember glimpses of it of coming to New Zealand. It was very difficult at the beginning. I would have to say, especially for my mom again, because, you know, she doesn't, this is a foreign place to her. She's being displaced and being put in another country. She has to learn the language. She didn't even know how to drive. So it was more, everything my dad did, we had to kind of follow with that. But as the years went on, she was able to get her independence. She got a driver's license, which was, I remember the first time we ever drove with my mom in the car, and it was just the best feeling because she finally felt like she could do something herself, and it really just thinking about it now, it just makes me want to cry. But, you know, like, I remember we walked, like, driving down the road, and she was like, look, I can drive. Like, it was just such an accomplishment for her.
Yeah.
And, you know, because her studies were taken away from her, schooling were taken away from her because, you know, Middle Easterns, they get into marriage quick and everything like that. So that was one thing that she could have for herself, which was so amazing to see. And it's always the little things that others might not see, but we see, and we were just like cherish.
Yeah.
So that was, you know, getting a driver's license, knowing how to use public transport, because when she didn't have a car or a driver's license, we didn't even really have a washing machine or anything like that, so she would have to bus to go to the laundromat just to wash our clothes and everything like that. So I really can't imagine how much of a struggle it was for her. But even for us kids, you know, like, we would go to school with plastic bags as our school bags because we couldn't afford normal school bags or barely any food. Even being, you know, in a country where you're able to get these types of benefits, it's harder for, you know, a family that doesn't really know English, doesn't know the system, doesn't know the language. So it's, you know, it's starting again, and starting from rock bottom is really, really hard.
Yeah.
So we did it.
And to be Kurd on top of that, the Kurds have not had it easy in the Middle East. So it's like an extra layer of challenge than the camps, than a new life in the West. Wow.
Right. I know. So
it's not
a lot.
It's a lot to deal with. But when you started life in New Zealand, I guess you just adjusted yourself, you and your siblings, and did you take to the music? I mean, like, how did that happen with your love of music? Did it start in New Zealand?
Yes, it did start in New Zealand because, you know, us kids, we would just stay home and watch TV if it was after school or before school. So we were always watching TV, and it was always a music channel that we had on. And at that time, it was, you know, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Mariah Carey, and all of those legends in my eyes that were on TV. And I would be so close to the TV that I would just see the pixels, and because I wanted to be in the TV and see them. So, like, I would just listen to the songs as well, and I would copy the way that they sing, and, you know, it sounded good in my head. I just didn't know if I was good or not. So, one time when I was 9 years old, I practiced this song. It was When You Believe by Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, and I performed it in front of my school for the talent quiz. I don't know where I got the courage to do that, but I did. And I received a standing ovation, and I won the whole thing. And I was just shocked. I was really shocked. I was just like, wow. 1, I got a standing ovation. 2, I know I can sing now. And 3, this feeling was just an amazing feeling.
Is that when you... Oh, sorry, go ahead on.
The next day after I won the talent quiz, there was a mom from one of the other students that was chasing me with a paper, and she was like, I want to give you this. And I was like, what is this? And she's like, it's singing lessons. I really think you should continue singing. And that was just such an amazing feeling for a stranger to believe in me that much. I knew I can believe in myself that much if a stranger could do that.
Right. And was that the aha moment that you realized you wanted to be a singer?
100%. I was like, after this, I want to chase this feeling again and get many more standing ovations. Like, this is what I want to do.
Wow. And so I imagine you went on this journey of taking voice lessons, and were you involved in like a school choir? And then,
I went to I took the singing lessons, but I didn't continue getting singing lessons. One, because it was expensive, and then two, I was just learning off of the people that I loved. So like
uh,
Christina Aguilera, I would sing all of her songs, and things that she would do in the songs, I would try to copy, and then I'll make it my own. So I've honestly learned how to sing just by copying other singers when
yeah,
I was younger. So that's how I
wow.
learned how to sing. Yeah, and yeah, I've just been practicing ever since by doing that.
And now your music on YouTube are getting like over 1 million hits. How does that feel?
That it feels so surreal. I just can't even put into words how much that means to me. Just because it's one thing putting out covers of other people's songs, but when
Mhm.
you write your own songs and record them and put them out and they get that type of response, it's crazy because I see other people doing it. So then when I do it and I get that type of reaction, it's just amazing. I really I don't know how to put it into words. I'm just speechless at the support that I got.
And I'm sure it like motivates you to just keep going because music, acting, almost probably any field in life, or the creative fields, you just have to keep going because there's probably a lot of days where nothing's happening, and you just
For
have
sure.
to keep the
For
the
sure.
faith.
No,
Yeah.
and it's very hard because it's one thing having talent, but you have to have the work ethic that matches it. Because I always say hard work trumps talent,
Yeah.
100% of the time. Just because you have to think about how many people are really trying to do this.
Mhm.
You have to be working harder than every single one of them, and being in the U.S. as well. It's not
Harder.
like I live, yeah, and it's not like I live here, so I have to face many other obstacles that come with it. So like being here for a temporary amount of time, um, not just that, it's finding a place to stay at. It's very expensive out here, and just having the will to go on every day is crazy. But I want it so bad that I never think about this like the obstacles like that. I think of you know one day here is a day I didn't have like yesterday, or if I'm in New Zealand, um, I don't have the same opportunities that I have over here. So I really take advantage of every single opportunity and every single day,
Mhm.
which is why I never have a bad day because
Right.
it's one that I never had. I would rather have bad days than great days in New Zealand.
Yeah, and that probably keeps you humble because that's something I wanted to ask you about. Like, how do you stay humble in the midst of your rising music career? And then you come from humble beginnings too. Can you talk a little bit about that?
For sure. I think that's why I stay very humble, because everything for me is bigger than music. My whole purpose in life and in music, it's all bigger than me. It's because of my background and because of where I'm from and just all of that and doing what I'm doing, like singing. It's putting all of that together. It's bigger than music for me because it's my purpose. I'm now doing this for millions of people that feel like they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So if I'm that person that's going to be the first one to be able to do that and do that in the U.S. where it's so hard,
Mhm.
I know in myself and I believe in myself enough to know I can be the first one to do that. And I won't stop until I do. And that's really what keeps me going, keeps me very, very humble every day just to
Yeah.
do it. And you have to stay humble in this, because if you don't stay humble, you get lost in everything, and all your values and all your whole goals and everything, it just changes.
Yeah.
It's not why you started. It's not why you started this.
Of course, I can imagine. And then you also probably really want to be like a good role model to other Syrian children and to refugee children, because there's some really inspiring models who have come from like a refugee background who are rising up. And I'm sure that the young kids are also looking up to you as well.
Oh, that means so much. I hope so. And I get messages every day from people from back home, whether it's from a refugee camp or whether it's just from Kurdistan or somewhere in the Middle East where I'm from. It's so amazing getting these messages because it's oh my God, these messages literally consist of, oh my God, you can do it now. I believe I can do it too, and that's all I want to be able to give to. I want to give hope back to people of where I'm from and where I started, because you can do it too. That's 100% the message I'm trying to send out, and I hope I am that role model for them, because I'm not going to stop until I get to where I need to. And once I'm in a position of having a big platform and things like that, I'm able to give back to the people that want to do exactly what I'm doing, or even a different pathway, but just helping them in doing that. That's really my goal, is to be able to give back to my people and to anybody, actually.
Yeah, and that's what's most important, that you give back and help back other people who are trying to get there. So, can you describe your sound? Like, how would you describe the sound of your music?
I would say my sound is very vulnerable, emotional, but it's also upbeat, so it makes you want to dance as well. And the best way to describe that is it makes you want to dance and cry at the same time.
Yeah,
Love
wow.
that.
Wow, and it's great that you're able to achieve both so that people can connect and relate.
For sure. No,
Um,
and I
yeah.
that's 100% what I want people to take from my music is I love to say things in my music that I wouldn't normally say in a normal conversation, because I don't talk about my feelings, but I will sing about them, and I will sing about the things that people are too scared to talk about.
Yeah, that's really great. I'm curious, are you a country music listener? Because country music really is great at being able to connect with emotions and it's relatable. I'm just curious.
Wow, it's crazy that you say that, because country music is my favorite genre because of that reason. And I really start all my songs like they were country songs.
Yeah.
It's so crazy, honestly, that you say that, because I've had 3 people this week tell me you like, oh, your music sounds like it could be a country song as well, which is perfect, because I'm like, that's great, because I know I'm storytelling now, and I know that my song means something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge country music fan, and the reason why it has stayed relevant, I think, is because of the stories that it tells. And Ray Charles was a huge country music listener, and he often sang with country music performers. And he said the reason why people connect with the genre is because of the storytelling aspect. So that's awesome. Maybe you'll be
For
performing
sure.
with a country music star at some time.
I hope so. I'm gonna honestly, my goal is to make a 100% country song as well, and it's gonna be so easy to do because it comes so naturally to me. I love country music. I
Yeah,
love it, and it's so relevant. It stays relevant, and because it's timeless music that talks about music.
it is. Who's your favorite country music performer?
Like I would say Rascal Flatts and Dan and Shay at the moment, and
Uh,
Brett Young.
yes, they're all great. Next week, I'm interviewing Chase Rice. I often interview country artists, so that's really cool. Segueing over to a different genre, um, I also really love Arabic music, and your sound is
Oh,
not like Arabic at all. Um, but are you inspired and influenced by some of the Arabic music artists out there?
honestly, yes, because especially with the instruments and the sounds,
Yeah.
I'm really like in my up tempo music that I'm doing right now. You're gonna hear a lot of Middle Eastern, Arabic inspired instruments and sounds in my music, and even a couple words here and there are in Arabic or Kurdish. So
Okay.
I'm really trying to put that into my up tempo fun records, because you know, it's my culture, and I love to dance. So it's just putting that all together, and it's been great.
Yeah, I can imagine. I interviewed a Jordanian singer this summer in Dubai, and he is a fan of country music, and he actually made this song that fuses Arabic and country music. I didn't think you could do it, but
Wow, that's amazing.
the sound, it really is amazing that you can fuse the two together. And one thing I'd love to ask your thoughts on this that he mentioned is that Arabic music is not as mm, accepting or quick to accept like other genres. It's very much staying in its own lane. Do you agree with that? And would you like to try and um, have an impact on Arabic music where it's, maybe bringing in hip hop and country sounds and pop
Of
sounds?
course, of course. Like literally, there's one song that I've done, and it's such a big song because I've added those elements, and I've, I've basically mixed it with like it's like pop Arabicish. Um, it's like a pop Arabic type song. It's really
Ooh.
really amazing. And next week, I think it is next week, I have like a week long camp that's dedicated solely to mixing my culture with the music that I'm doing.
Oh, that's really awesome.
Yeah,
Um, wow, that could really make an impact on Arabic music because I feel like there's not a lot of fluidity with Arabic music. As he said,
yeah,
it stays in its own lane, and I think that only Arabic people really listen to Arabic music, and it would be
right.
great for other like for the Kiwis, for the Aussies, for the Americans, the Westerners to get acquainted with Arabic sounds.
Yep, for sure. No, for sure. Like my whole thing is really, I'm trying to make sure that everybody knows of each other. So my culture, everybody knows my culture, and I know their culture. So that's why I'm mixing everything together, and I'm making sure that everybody around the world knows exactly who I am and exactly what type of music I'm doing, and like my culture and the Middle East. I just want everybody to know about it because they don't know about it enough yet.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Do you ever desire to live in the Middle East again, or are you gonna always be between New Zealand and LA?
I feel like New Zealand has become home because I've been there since
Mm-hmm.
I was very very young.
Mm-hmm.
Career wise, LA, I have to be here,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not going to stop me from visiting or traveling for long periods of time back to the Middle East because I'm really planning on doing that, especially when I release all the music, the rest of the music and everything like that. And once
Yeah.
I start touring, it's definitely, I think I'm going to start in the Middle East.
Oh, wonderful. Is there an artist in the region you'd love to collaborate with or, yeah, perform with in the region?
On the top of my head, I'm trying to think. I would probably have to research it more into that just because I have to see who would be a great collaboration music wise.
Yeah,
But I'm so down. I'm so down to collaborate like everybody over there.
of course. I know they would love to work with
I
you
hope so.
because yeah, it's like coming home in a way. Um,
Of course.
yeah.
I hope so.
So, two last questions. Who inspires you? Like, who do you look up to? Whether that's in music or in your family or any.
I would honestly, it's always gonna be my mom. She just set out so many great values in us, and um, she's just so strong as a
Mm,
person, as a mother, as a friend. She's just such an amazing person, and that's who I'm always going to look up to, no matter what. Whether it's in music, whether it's in life, whether it's in love, whatever it is, she's just so amazing to be able to, just raise 6 kids on her own, seeing what there's through what she's been through. It's just crazy, and to still have a smile on her face and still the kindest heart at the end of it.
Wow.
It's just so amazing.
Yeah, I want to meet your mom because any refugee mom, I think especially Middle Eastern refugee moms, because they get married so early, and to live in any camp, oh my gosh, 6 kids, but 4 of them were in camps, right? So I'd love to shake her hand.
Oh, you're so sweet. I'm sure one day it's gonna happen. I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I hope so too. Okay, so the last question. Seele, the magazine here, Seele is the German word for soul, and it's about empowering others and helping others climb to their dreams. How are you helping others get to where they're trying to get to?
Hopefully, through my platform, I'm really trying to do that. So this is why I work endlessly. I wake up 6 a.m. every day just to make sure that I'm going to be at a certain place where I'm going to be able to help others.
Yeah.
Whether it's through making their dreams come true as well. There's organizations that I want to start to help specifically, refugees and families in need and displaced families, and things like that. And also another organization I want to start is actually educational. So I want to, because I studied computer science.
Wow.
Random fact. I studied computer science, and
that's
there's not
amazing.
enough women in tech. Yeah, and I just think there's not enough women in tech that, they think it's like a male-dominated industry. But we do need more women in computer science and in tech and technology, because that's really where the world's going. And women are just so intelligent, I think. So it's, there's organizations like that I want to start to encourage other women to be able to do that. And, whatever tools that they need, I want to be able to help do that. I want to make sure that children can study if they want, and it be an option for them, rather than, you can't study because you don't have the tools for it.
Right.
So there's a lot that I want to do. It's just trying to make sure that I plan it all out really, really well. And I just can't wait to give back, because that's the purpose of life, is giving back. Especially when you get something, you always give it back.
Of course. And then you're blessed too, and you can move up and then continue helping others move up. So
that's the only reason. That's the only reason why I want to do everything, is to be able to give back. Just, God puts you in a position because He knows you're the one to be able to do that. And I feel like I'll wholeheartedly take on that responsibility, because I would want nothing more than to help other people. So that's why I just can't wait to do all that. It's going to happen very soon, because I'm working every day nonstop. So it's something I really want to do straight away.
Wow, well, you will achieve it, and I just pray God's highest and best for you, so that you can help other people. Yeah, we were put on this earth to use our gifts and talents to serve other people. It's not just for us.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
No.
that's inspiring.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Well, Nouri, thank you so much for your time and for doing this interview, and I'm going to keep my eye on you.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet, and thank you for everything that you're doing. You're doing amazing things, Everything that you're doing is
Thanks.
You're great. You're a really great person.
I try.
You're doing a great job, I'm telling you now.
Oh, thank you so much. We all have our callings, and I'm just following the call that God put on my life, and obeying Him. And He has, at this season in my life, called me to the Middle East. And so I try and help others.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and not many Westerners are keen on going to the Middle East, so it has to be God.
Not at all. Right, but you know what? That's our job to change that, and hopefully by 2022 or 21, there'll be more people going back to the Middle East.
Yeah, That's true. Hopefully so. Lots happening in this region, but that's true. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it, and thank you, for interviewing me.
Of course.
I'm glad to be a part of this.
I hope that you enjoyed this podcast episode and that you have found a soulful connection to the conversation. God bless you, and until the next episode, go bless somebody else.